Coptic Christmas celebrations have gotten off to a sombre start this year after a bomb blast on New Year's Day killed more than 20 people at a church in Egypt. Security was stepped up in church grounds throughout the world as they marked one of their holiest days. Orthodox Christians are celebrating today as well.
Security forces surround the Al-Qiddison Church in Alexandria ahead of its annual Christmas Eve service. This year it's taken on an even deeper meaning. Just days after a bomb blast killed several worshippers here, their families would journey to the same spot to mark the birth of their saviour.
ومبسوطين وفرحانين لأن ضامنين اللي لينا راح فين ومبسوطين جدا من المكان اللي هو راحه والتكريم اللي تكرمه واللي سيدنا البابا عمله معانا.
Officials say an Al-Qaeda-inspired bomber was behind the attack and extremists have threatened more of the same. But as the services got underway, Muslims and Christians stood outside the church in a show of solidarity against the attack. Coptic Orthodox Pope Shenouda III offered his condolences to the victims as he led prayers at St. Mark's Cathedral in Cairo. Despite the attack, attendances were high. Coptic Christians make up about 10% of Egypt's 80 million people, but the services were still given widespread television coverage. Major services were also held in Lebanon, one of several countries that led an outpouring of support to Egypt.
كلمة أخيرة لكل الشعب القبطي بقول لهم ميلاد سعيد ومجيد وهذا هو مسيحيتنا أن كل واحد في عيد الميلاد قدم للمسيح هدية فيجب أن نقدم هدية قلوب مليئة بالحب والتسامح والمحبة.
There was a more festive atmosphere in Bethlehem, with marching bands welcoming Coptic and Greek Orthodox representatives ahead of their respective midnight masses. Though security was stepped up in France, with authorities patrolling 19 Coptic churches throughout the country. But the Coptics are just one of many faiths that follow the Julian calendar, which sees Christmas fall on January 7. Russian President Dmitry Medvedev and his family joined thousands of Orthodox worshippers in Moscow. But Prime Minister Vladimir Putin chose to attend midnight mass in the village of Turganovo. His jumper, a gift from a local official, one of many set to be exchanged by countless Orthodox families throughout the world. Manny Tsigas, World News Australia.
Tight security too around Australia's Coptic churches as church leaders call on Canberra to do more to help diffuse the situation in Egypt. A special service was held in Melbourne for those who lost loved ones in the New Year bombing.
Morning in Melbourne. The Ghali and Hamawi families lost 4 members in Egypt's New Year bombing.
I'm very sad. The whole family is sad. The family of Christ all over the world is sad too.
Medhat Ghali's 2 sisters-in-law and 2 nieces were among 23 people who died when a car bomb exploded outside a Coptic church in the northern city of Alexandria just minutes into the new year. Security footage captured the scene inside the church as the blast rocked the street. The attack has led to an explosion in tensions, Christian protesters venting their anger. Security concerns too in Australia. 4 churches in Sydney were threatened as Coptic Christians around the world celebrate Christmas and the Feast of the Nativity. Police were also present in Melbourne at an ecumenical prayer service for those who lost their lives in Egypt, candles lit for each of the victims.
Not only was she our cousin, she was also our best friend and our sister.
Outside St Paul's Anglican Cathedral, 1,000 white balloons were released into the sky, representing those who've died in church struggles. The assembled congregation later massing in Melbourne's Federation Square to hear from religious leaders who denounced the violence and called on the Australian government to act.
We have not heard from our Prime Minister. She has not condemned this atrocious act.
One member of Victoria's Parliament also critical of Canberra.
But the Australian government has let you down very badly. The Australian government has let you down very badly.
23 doves were released into the sky. From those left to mourn, the hope is a simple one.
Peace on earth as we celebrate Christmas.
Alan Raskell, World News Australia.